You don't know, Dexter? What we out here for?
We're here for coffee, classics, and community.
There you go. There you go. So we got coffee, we got donuts, we got community here with Mr. Quentin Phillips, Fort Worth ISD School Board Trustee, co-founder of Community Frontline. Man, you want a donut, Mr. Q? Let's get
I
you
would
served
love
up.
donuts.
Hey, I want to thank Miss Lee over at Dunkin' Donuts. Come on, Miss Anthony. Miss Anthony, come bring us some donuts. And, man, I sure
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am. I got you. I'm clumsy anyway, you know what I mean?
So I always go classic glaze, man. I know
go
everybody
classic
got
glaze?
fancy, but ain't nothing like a classic
Hey,
glaze.
well, I'm a glaze and put some chocolate on top. I'll put a little chocolate on top, you know,
Indeed.
and we'll eat this as we talk. But I do want to thank you. We are out here at Streetside Classic. We're here every fourth Saturday of the month. Thank you, Dunkin' Donuts, Miss Lee over here in the Hearst location.
Thank you, Miss Lee.
And so, as I mentioned earlier, we have Mr. Quentin Q. Phillips, a Fort Worth, Texas school board trustee. What district are you in, Mr. Q?
District 3. So we're single member districts in Fort Worth ISD. We have 9 of them. I am the representative for District 3, and District 3 covers most of the east side of Fort Worth, Stop 6 Eastwood neighborhood, the Dunbar Pyramid, and some schools up with 820 and John T. White area.
Okay. It's a lot of schools. 9 schools. You have 9, you said.
Yeah, no, we have 9
Districts.
different districts within
Okay.
the school district, 9
Okay.
single member districts. Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
I got elected in May 2019, so this is what, year 5 or so, I think.
5
Yeah,
years.
look at
5
that. Yeah.
years. Okay. And it's always, we find ourselves in positions and places that we don't see coming. Like for myself, I definitely didn't see myself working with youth in schools and juvenile service, the prison release. There's no way I saw myself. So is this something that you strive to become, or how did you manage to get here?
Yeah, not at all. So, with most things, like you said it well, even when you just went into it, brothers, like that. No, I didn't know the path, but the path of education was something that was always choosing me.
Okay.
Like I'm very happy about, being able to look back in hindsight now about how that always was forging forward. And so, I guess in context of talking about the actual school board within itself, I'm very blessed to be from the Stop 6 neighborhood in East Fort Worth. I grew up 3 houses down from Dr. Gwendolyn Morris. Dr. Gwendolyn Morrison has served on the Tarrant County College Board for 47 years, I think it is now.
Okay.
Something like completely the same, where she's dedicated her life to service.
Wow.
So all those stuff that we see for TCC, she's been an integral part of everything happening there. And then I was also able to grow up around the corner and in the household of Franklin Moss and Christine Moss. Frank Moss, former city council person in the city of Fort Worth for District 5, and then Christine Chadwick Moss, my mom.
Okay.
And she served on the school board for 29 years in a seat in which I'm privileged to sit in now. And
Wow,
so
that
just
is cool.
seeing her firsthand and everything, man, and
That is cool.
never knew it was going to be my path to succeed her in any way, but
Right.
it's just one of those things that kind of selects you along the way when you're thinking about service and how you can fit into that.
Man, I had no idea. That's making mom proud right there.
Man, come on now.
That's making mom proud. And I know you got some young boys.
I do.
Your sons.
I do.
Okay, obviously the beautiful wife. You want to tell us their names and
Yeah.
introduce them to our people.
No, absolutely, man. So I have, I tell my students, the ones we mentor, everybody else, man. I always make sure you marry up. I know you did a good job of doing so, and I did as well, man. So I married DeAndrea Pearson at the time. She's now DeAndrea Phillips, thankfully.
Yes, sir.
And she is a lifelong educator herself. Someone else who didn't see that path. She's a completely brilliant human being, the smartest person I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
And she's actually an electrical engineer by trade, but got into education, and she now serves as a principal in a neighboring school district of Fort Worth ISD, and she is the best educator I've ever met in my life. So,
Outstanding.
and then we have our 2 boys that came from that, which is Quentin Phillips II. Clearly, I got to name him, right? And we have Austin Phillips, and she got to name him because
Okay.
she went to UT, so we had to have our Longhorn baby, right? So, yeah.
Well, I tell you, man, whenever I see y'all, we normally at Doc Bookshop or one of the events, I see the 3 of y'all, and I just, man, that's a fatherhood with his kids, a father with his kids, and that's what's missing out here. We both know that, but we'll dive into that more when we get into Community Frontline.
Yeah.
But first, let's stick with the school board. Let's stick with our district. And so you already told us, 2019, you've been there 5 years. You told us about your school, District 3. And so for individual who don't know, and I don't know much about the Fort Worth ISD, the operations. So 2019, so that's almost 5 years, or roughly 5 years. So is that something that you just stay on? Is there another election period? Tell us how the process goes.
So when it comes to the school boards here in the state of Texas, definitely in our DFW area, we're elected. I know there's some places where people can get appointed. Like I have some school board members across the nation. In Chicago, I think is an appointed board. Philadelphia, so something like that, to where some get appointed by the mayor or something like that. But here in Fort Worth, we're elected. So we run on your ballot when you see city council people, when you see these different races happening. Keep going down that ballot. I tell people all the time, the school board may be down there, and you need to vote for those folks.
Okay.
So we serve in Fort Worth on 4-year terms.
Okay.
And so I was elected in May 2019. I had to run for re-election in May 2023 and got re-elected during that time. So this is my second term on the school board. And so, so it's the election process that most of us are familiar with. That you have to get your name on that ballot. And you have to go out there and tell the people why they're supposed to be electing you, and hopefully they vote for you, which thankfully I'm very grateful that they did twice for me.
Well, man, I tell you, I am too. Obviously, me not knowing about the process, but I know next time when I'm voting, 'cause what y'all do in the community, I get to witness firsthand. And I got to tell you, witnessing firsthand, I did go to one of the school board meetings.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it was exactly that. I'm like this. Since you have this cowboy stuff on here,
Come on now.
I'm gonna shout out to one of the other, and I forget his name, but he talking about bring the popcorn. So he said, man, you go to a school board meeting, bring your popcorn. Just go there and sit back, and you're gonna be entertained. I guarantee you. It's not the entertainment that you will want because of that situation, because we're supposed to be talking about our kids.
Yes.
Instead, they talk about all their personal crap. But it wasn't cool. But hats off to you guys for putting up with it. The patience, man. That was good to see, because you have chaos on this side here, and then you have y'all bored, and y'all sitting there, y'all's calm, y'all patient. I don't know if I could have done it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad y'all had security and whatnot, But for the parents and for the people, can I just say one thing? If y'all listening to this, when you go to a school board meeting, have your priorities straight. It's about the kids, right?
It's supposed to be, man. I promise.
It's supposed to be. Let's walk in there. Pray before you go in. Whatever you have to do. What they say, check yourself at the gate, check yourself at the door, whatever, But that was wild. I sat there, I was like, man, they had signs. I'm like, dude, what are these people tripping on? And it was so long. I think we was in there for a couple hours, and I swear I did not hear nothing about kids. It was all personal yabbering. I'm sitting here in the middle. I'm listening over here. I'm ear hustling. I'm ear hustling over here, and none of the stuff was about the kids. And I was like, man, this is gonna be the first and last, most likely. Let me just go out in the community and work out there. I'm gonna leave that alone to y'all.
I don't have that option. I gotta show up there.
Man, now I'll show if you ask me to show, but man, I'm gonna be like Q. Come on, man. I don't want to be there, but I'm gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But it was pretty brutal, man. I'd rather have the hands-on working with the kids.
Yes.
To be honest with you, but I do want to get educated by you about the system.
Yeah.
And so you came 2019.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you saw that you wanted to change?
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. I say it from this standpoint here. One, in a general sense, there's so much of an overhaul that we need in the education period, and that's across the nation. But of course, keeping it personal, local, and immediate down to Fort Worth, Texas, where I reside, and where I have some sphere of influence to do something. When I'm talking about this overhaul and change, it's really talking about in the sense of we clearly see from national news, from things that we're privy to, that the education system is failing our young people in way too many ways, man. Because it pricks my heart, like I'm getting tinglies now thinking about it. When I think about third grade reading levels and things, because you see these things in the news, and these numbers are telling us that there's a third grader sitting somewhere that cannot read.
Right.
And it's like, I don't even know what that world really looks like, because no matter how we were in school, it seems like we knew how to pick up a book and be able to,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Now,
Exactly.
at that level, but you still were able to pick up that book. And I still fundamentally believe that is true because we are in the schools together,
Right,
and we
right.
get to talk to some of these young people, and I can sit down with them with a book, and they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's something systemic about what's going on here as to why things look the way they look with our young people, and we're not getting the success that we know that we're able to achieve. So the thing when you talk about what I want to change
Yeah.
is I don't want to change the children because parents are sending their best to us.
Right.
I want to change the adult mindset about the expectations that we have for our young people.
Okay,
What
okay.
we're pouring into our young people during that time period in which we have them,
Yes, sir.
and really making it holistic about how do we make this a better human being that we're putting out there into the world that eventually are going to be the adults that's sitting here right now.
Exactly.
And can
On the
we-
boards and
on
running
the
our
board-
city
yes,
councilmen.
right?
That's what we want. That's what
And
we want.
so when you talk about what I want to change, the adult culture, man.
Okay,
The adult
okay,
culture within
okay.
within education, within school systems is the thing that needs to change the most because if the adults can get it right, we can make sure the kids are getting what they need.
Exactly. And so they say it's two things you hit on: the adult mindset. Because we all know that some teachers are not supposed to be teachers.
That's real.
you
That's
know,
real. That's
and
real.
so I see that, and I'm pretty sure I'm not knocking Fort Worth ISD their policy on hiring teachers because I don't know none of that.
Yeah.
But I can say that it's a hard thing to do because I
Yeah.
work with kids on the after school program,
Yeah.
and these kids can't test you. Don't get me wrong,
Sure,
but you
sure.
got to have that patience. You got to remind yourself you are the adult,
Yes.
and you want to do better for these kids. These kids don't know.
And let me jump right where you at right
Yes,
there.
sir.
That the key word we're talking about is teaching. You get a young person in the class. I understand we're supposed to teach the actual reading and the math and the science, by all means.
Yeah.
But you get this young person in the class who's not behaving the way that you want them to or whatever. They don't know differently.
Exactly.
You're teaching them. Teach them
Yeah.
how to act the way that's going to be appropriate. So when we do send them out,
Yes, sir.
they know
Yes,
how
sir.
to do it.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know how to sit down to a fancy dinner and everything until somebody showed me that this is your salad fork, this is your soup spoon. And someone had to teach that. I didn't just
Man,
come out with that.
man.
So someone had the patience of saying, "Hey, put that one down, pick this one up, put your napkin on your lap," without someone walking through those things that had nothing to do with reading or any of the other stuff. I wouldn't have that skill set now. So it's the same thing. When we're talking about teaching, man, behavior and classroom management,
Yes.
etiquette, these
Yes,
things
sir.
are stuff that still matter alongside preparing them for here's the
Exactly.
academics that we can impart into.
And that's what and I'm gonna keep probably saying that's one of the exciting things about us partnership in Meadowbrook Middle School this year. So, but we're dialing that when we get to the end of this. But those teachers, you can look at the teachers. And I walk through the halls, and I'm looking at these teachers, and unfortunately, I sit there and say, this teacher got it. That teacher don't have it.
Sure,
That,
sure.
you get that feeling, that gut feeling on how they looking at their students, how they talk to their students. But they are in there, they are a body. But we just pray that they love on their youth
Yeah.
as much as they can. So, but at the second thing you mentioned
Yeah.
was about the numbers, about the
Yeah.
rates, and so.
Sure.
Looking at Fort Worth Report, one of our local news outlets here in Fort Worth, they discussed some things about the dropout rates.
Yeah.
And I got two sets of numbers here. It says 7th and 8th graders are dropping out at 2.2%. Okay. To me, that's a lot because you got millions of students, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, the state is at 9%.
Yeah.
So Fort Worth ain't doing that bad. That's 25%. That's less than 25%. So
Relatively speaking, you're right, but you're still pricks.
I know you
Yeah.
want it down, but
Yeah.
I'm like this. You give kudos to where
Sure.
we could be higher, we could be worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he got me slipping. I said Fort Worth when it's Fort Wealthy Worth. Y'all see
All
that?
right,
There.
Fort Wealthy Worth, you heard.
Yeah, got me going. See, we're gonna dial it back. It's Fort Wealthy Worth.
I
But
like it,
so
like
we're not doing too bad in certain areas.
Yeah.
But now at the same time, when we go to our 9th and 12th graders,
Yes.
it got a little higher. So we had 4.3, right?
Right.
But when the state is 2.4, so we're above it when it comes to certain grades. And so, but at the same time, I look at it as we're starting these elementaries and middle schools now.
Yeah.
We're doing something where, hey, we want those numbers to drop.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, what do you say about these numbers?
Yeah.
What do you see as a reason for it, and how do we get them lower?
Yeah,
what's
no,
the
absolutely.
solution?
Those great questions, man. And I would say, And thank you for providing the context you provided around those numbers, because numbers are contextual in so many ways. And you're right. So I mean, like you said, for the middle school thing, we can pat ourselves on the back and say, look, we're not doing as bad as other people are doing across the state. But again, changing that adult mindset of, if it's 0.01, we still got to look and say, hey,
We got some work to
what
do.
did we do as adults to be able to get that one kid or whatever the case, right? And it's not about having a failure mindset because if one fails, you didn't do your job and things like that. It's not that pressuresome, but we have to. But every young person that walks into one of our buildings has to be so precious that we're willing to pour everything we got into them,
Man,
right?
man.
So, and so with that being the case, the middle school numbers, middle school, for the most part, you're still under that umbrella, right? As far as just societally speaking, in your home, mom and daddy still are kind of making sure you're going every day. You know,
Right.
the autonomy is not there in the elementary and the middle level. So that's why I would think you would see that it's not going to be nearly as bad from a dropout rate like that in middle school, because you really hadn't gotten there yet, right?
Right.
And then you transition to that high school, like you said, and that's where we know we all formerly, went to high school at some point, all those kind of things. You start gaining that autonomy. You start kind of getting into your grown a little bit, right? And so the watch
Thinking
for
you're grown.
eyes, your watch for eyes not there as much. You kind of responsible for yourself a little bit more about whether or not you get into school. You can skip because you can walk out that school building and go and do something, and hey, somebody might not know and think. So those things are beginning to happen to where it's more of your choice at that point. But that's even more reason why, when you talk about the things we have to do, we have to make school the place you want to be. So
Man,
then,
come on.
because
Come
if you are in your grown and you got an option, we need to be the option,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
And there's many ways of doing that, and which is what our mentoring and everything that we're doing. Shout out to a great brother of ours, Ricky Clark, with My Brother
Oh, yeah.
Sister and
Yes,
My
sir.
Sister's Keeper. Because
sir.
what we're doing is we're finding out that when a young person is tethered to something within the school, that's what makes them go. It's not because I got to go to science class so much to check a box to make sure I got a science credit.
Right,
It's that
right.
they saying there's a teacher there, an adult there, a principal, a coach, or something. They have to. So my friends are there, so I want to go because I don't want to not be at school today because I want to see my friends if I'm not there.
Yes, sir.
You have to tether to something within the school to make the ambition and the motivation to get there.
Exactly,
And so
exactly.
the answer really there is getting them tethered to some loving adult that they actually can count on and believe in when they're there, getting them the proper friend groups, whether it be through clubs, organizations, athletics, whatever those things are, something to tie them to, because I know, and I know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many people when we were going to school, they probably care less about algebra class, but because they play football, because they play basketball,
Yeah,
and if I fail this class, I can't play. I'm gonna be in school. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we have to make sure we got enough experiences, enough extracurricular clubs, organizations, good people surrounding these young people in school to make them want to get out that bed in the morning
Exactly.
and want to say, I'm going to go because I want to do this thing because of that person, because of this thing, and that's how we really get them to stay.
And that's part of, once again, guys, we're gonna get to a second part of this where we're gonna be talking about our community programs, and that's where we're gonna dive into that area of making the kids want to be there. But one of the things I looked at and was told is that one of the dropout rates was because a lot of them are going trying to find work. They got to work for the
Sure,
families.
there's some of that too, yeah.
It's about that money, and so. But once again, if we can show them how to make that money in school and teach them about money,
Yeah.
long-term money and not about the short-term money, and even teach their parents about it,
Yeah.
we'll have a better chance of keeping them in there.
That's
And
all
so, but our next question is, it comes to kids dropping out and whatnot, and Fort Worth ISD is getting smaller, and we know that funds get to the school because of the kids in the seats.
Sure.
Now, a lot of these charter schools and private schools are coming in.
Yes.
Let me get your opinion on these schools. Let me get your opinion on that right there.
Yeah, man. So, thankfully, man, for, this tenure I have on the board, and even, shout out to my board members who elected me to be a part of the Texas Association of School Boards. So I serve on the board of directors for the Texas Association of School Boards as well.
Okay.
I'm getting to meet colleagues from across the country, literally, man.
Okay.
And so I'm getting to see what it looks like across the state of Texas. And I'm getting to see what it looks like in these various pockets, right? And how comparatively so we do things when it comes to Fort Worth versus other places, man. And so one of the national sentiments, man, particularly among school board members and things like that, not all, but one of those prevailing patterns we see is that people in traditional public school are anti-charter, anti-private. Like, oh, they are coming, they are taking our money, they are taking our kids. We need to shut them all down, right?
Right.
The thing is, that's the stance that it's almost like I'm supposed to take, but I actually don't take that stance in many ways, man.
Okay.
Now, it's not that I'm saying go build a whole bunch of charter schools. It's not that I'm saying I want all our kids to go to private. But I think the approach that I look at it is, man, instead of saying about how we need to shut them all down and they don't need anymore, let's beat them. I'm competitive in that way, man. Like, it's like, okay, fine, you got your charter school and maybe you're offering something that this young person is wanting to go and explore, whatever the case. But if we make our schools the way that they're supposed to be,
Yes,
they
sir.
can't compete with us, man. Like, if we can really, like I say, even whether those extracurricular activities, whether it be whatever it is, we can give enough in our buildings, man, to where other schools aren't even an option because they're getting everything in the home school right there in their neighborhood where they need to be in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way that I look at it when it comes to that, is that these other places for me are just healthy competition. Now, if I'm on the sanctioning board, I'm not just giving charters willy-nilly. And the thing is, make no mistake about it, when it comes to the charter aspect, they're coming to neighborhoods where there are predominantly students of color. That's the only place that they really go because
Right,
they
right.
come in saying, we're going to save these young people from this evil
Yes,
school district
yes,
that's doing
yes,
this thing to
yes.
them. So I understand the war part of it. But bottom line is, man, is that when the charter school comes in, people want to navigate towards that because usually they got some kind of bright, shiny new building. Let's make our buildings what they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
They going over here because they just want an alternative because they feel like our schools are failing them in some way. Let's not fail these young people and give them home to where they don't even have to look anywhere else, right? So that's kind of the take I have when it comes to charter, when it comes to private. Let's just beat them down, man.
I like the competition there.
Yeah.
You talking about competition. Of late, my Giants. I'm a New York Giants fan. Y'all know that. And he got this, and so, man, this year we got at least. I'm like this. We got at least get 800, 500. You got to get that 8-8 season
You
going.
just want to pinch the Cowboys one time, huh?
This one. I don't think we beat y'all in like 4 or 5 years, man. Be honest with you.
My son Austin is 10.
Yeah.
He may have saw one loss to the Giants in his life so
See,
far.
that's what I'm saying. Hey, even though we got a couple Super Bowls within his lifetime, he ain't seen that with the Cowboys. I think y'all about 30 years by
You
now.
ain't seen that one. Yeah, okay. That's
So,
you're right. Next
you know what I'm
question.
saying? So yeah. Next question. I like that. Y'all see this, you know what I'm saying? But no, man. So real talk, man. So with these private schools and charter schools coming in,
Yeah.
they are taking some students away.
They are.
But with y'all new superintendent,
Yes.
and I might mess her name. I'm just gonna say Ms. Ramsey.
Yeah, Angelica Ramsey. Yeah.
Angelica
yeah. And she
Ramsey.
don't mind you calling her Angelica. She's beautiful, down to earth, man. She's a great human being.
Okay. One of the things, once again, in that Fort Worth report that I read, about 70% of the class being full, meaning the numbers are better for the teachers. And one of the things they're looking at and looking for is less destruction. Man, I got tongue tied. Disruptions.
Disruption.
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry about that.
No,
And I would love to talk to her one day about how they see it, because when you see disruption in classroom, it's not about the number; it's about the students who doing the disruption.
Okay.
Are they? And I don't know if y'all had the discussion with her or not. Are they just trying to give more? I like to say struggling teens, struggling youth.
Okay.
I don't say at risk.
Sure.
Because we all at risk, and we was at risk when we
Come on
woke
now.
up this morning.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that they need to scratch that. At risk. We all at risk right now. A plane falling on us. God bless that don't happen. But you have struggling artists.
Yeah.
You got struggling. We struggling through our 20s and 30s.
That's legit.
Our kids are just struggling to find themselves.
Come on now.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They ain't. We really need to dive into taking that at risk off the label of our kids. And like we said, it is in the inner city kids that mostly get those labels.
Oh, sure.
You see what I'm saying?
100%,
So, like I said, she want less disruption in the class. Do you know
Yeah.
how she's planning on doing it? Is there a strategy or?
Oh yeah,
is it-
man. So we are blessed with a tremendous leader at Fort Worth ISD, man, and Angelica Ramsey, man. This is when, there's some people in education that just truly gets it, man. She's one of those people that gets it, right?
Okay.
Because she's that public school product. She was that English as a second language learner herself, right?
Okay.
She's that, so she was growing up in the neighborhoods that our kids were growing up in, having the experiences that our kids were having. So it's not one of these things where she's looking down from some type of ivory tower about what needs to happen to little kids. She sees herself in all these young people that we have in the district, man. And so when it comes to those, like you're talking about, classroom disruption, the behavior management aspect. We have a student performance framework, a school performance framework that's getting implemented and put in place, man, to where what it's talking about is focusing on the 25%. So the 25% of campuses that need the most help, the 25% of young people within those campuses that need the most help, right?
Okay,
So when you're
okay.
talking about the ones that are, like in this instance, we're talking about the disruptors, then how do we focus in on those that are needing that particular help and begin to give them the interventions they need and
Outstanding.
giving them the interventions they need so they can continue to integrate into the classroom community, because it's not about pulling them out.
Nope.
Again,
We
we're
ain't doing
talking
no
about
good if we pull them out.
the education overhaul. We're
Yeah.
talking about, oh, you're the bad one, you're disrupting, get out of here. Now they're getting further and further behind because every time they're a problem, let's just get rid of them so we can keep this going.
Yes.
And no, but fine, you might have to minimize the disruption. Yes, maybe they have to leave for a moment, but once they leave that for that moment,
Yes,
is
sir.
everything about it at that moment about how do we get them back in there
Exactly.
properly. Not and that's where a teacher needs support, because the thing is, you also can't go out there and just, hey, don't do that no more, go back in the class, and that teacher has to deal with it again too, right?
Right.
So there has to be this comprehensive approach to, okay, what is the actual problem this teacher is seeing, letting that teacher have a voice within that. What is the young person saying is the problem as to why they're doing some of the things they're doing. What is the parent saying about, hey, this is why my kid, or this is what my kid is going through. Like legitimately having a comprehensive approach to saying, let's focus in on what's really happening with this young person. Let's put proper interventions in place to where we ingratiate this young person back in that classroom successfully, so they can be with their peers, because as much as they're learning from the teacher, the TEKS, the curriculum, they're also learning from those peers and being along with them as well. So
Right.
let's just make sure we get them integrated properly. So with that, when we're focusing on that bottom 25, that really is making it to where we really see the real root of the issue. Instead of just a holistic throw at it approach, no, we see this is where what's going on. How do we get in there and do the proper things to help that young person survive, thrive, just the way the rest of their classmates are?
Man, I like that.
Yeah.
I like to say when I was reading that, because it don't say everything what you just said. It don't
Yeah.
tell you the strategy. And I
Yeah.
was sitting there scratching the head. I'm like, okay, what's the strategy on this?
Yeah.
I like less disruption. Everybody likes that.
Yeah.
But what is the strategy? And I like how you said, giving the resources.
Yeah.
The resources getting there to the teachers. The
Right.
resources getting there for the counselors, and then also about getting them back.
Gotta get them back in there, man.
Get them back in there. They just not isolated out forever. But we got to get them back. So I'm thankful that you was able to answer that for me.
Yeah.
Now, so when Miss Ramsey came in, hey, she did a big makeover.
Yeah.
She did a big makeover. I know a couple of people that it affected.
Sure.
The budget, positioning. So I know she wasn't a fan of everybody. You're never going to be a fan of everybody when you come, you know what I'm saying? But what do you think about the makeover? Was it?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I say that, man. Thank you for that. And I would say, I would rephrase. It's not that she wasn't a fan of anyone, but I think that I think she understood that it wasn't about her fandom.
Okay.
If it truly is what we even started this conversation out about, saying that it's supposed to be about kids, then you have to make the proper decisions to make sure that the kids have what they're needing, right? So we joked around with it and everything about the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that those owners or those coaches actually have real, affirmation for the particular third string quarterback or the special teams player, or they like them as human beings.
Right.
But if they can't come on this field, or if they've been on the field and haven't been performing,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. You ain't starting Sunday.
I have to get someone here that is going to perform as much as I like. So it's not even about her fandom in that particular sense, because when we're talking about these jobs and talking about the cuts, it is not lost upon any of us, those on the board, her as a superintendent, and NFL administration, that we're talking about people's lives.
Okay.
So it ain't easy to go in and just say you have to transition away, or you're fired, or you have to do this thing. But if we hired her in to say, our school district is in this state at this moment, where can you take our school district? And she had a clear vision for where that's going to be. And what that's going to take is that you can't keep doing things the way you were doing them, expecting a different result.
Okay,
So she
okay.
had to make an overhaul in order to be able to put proper people in place that's going to truly carry out the vision that she has set forth. So that when we look forward 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we can say, this is how we got here, because she had to do the things at the ground level in order to be able to make that happen.
Okay,
So she came and she did that, and that's unpopular in many ways. But ultimately, he ultimately, after the way that everything was going with it, was able to do it with
Hey,
dignity.
excuse me. Yes, will you get some donuts for the kids? I was about to say, make sure y'all get some donuts. I apologize, Miss Q.
No, not at all.
I thought they were about to walk away. Yeah, get the baby
Yeah,
some,
by all
some
means.
donuts over there.
Yeah. No,
But
that's
no.
community work. Ain't nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
yeah,
that.
yeah. We got to make
Yeah.
sure they get the donuts over there.
Indeed,
So,
indeed.
thank you for Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you, Miss Lee, once again.
Miss
You know,
Lee,
what I
make
mean, but Miss Ramsey, like you said, it's mainly about the kids. Like we
Yeah.
started off, and we see that she got a passing for it, and so
Yeah, yeah.
the budget got. I mean, you look at the numbers. I can't $800 some million.
Yeah.
That's crazy for us. And y'all, they got to work through all those numbers.
It's
And
big numbers,
man,
man.
that's you know what I'm saying. And so,
$1 billion organization, man.
exactly. But you got the payroll, and that's where the payroll was 80-some% of that. Excuse me, 82% of that, and that's where you hiring those qualified teachers.
Absolutely.
Those teachers that's want to pour into these students and not just throw them away.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why that's the two things I looked at. I said, okay, you got an $800 million budget, 80% going to staff and these teachers and whatnot. So that's a big number, 82%. So you got to be hiring qualified people.
Yeah.
And one of the qualifications needs to be you have a heart for our kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not going to throw them away. So,
Absolutely.
hats off to these teachers. Like I said, I get the privilege of going into schools and seeing them pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. And they're doing a job that probably I couldn't have done, back in the day. Now, I definitely love on kids, because we want the best for them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, definitely that. Now, we're going to start wrapping it up. And I want to start wrapping up this segment of it about the STAR testing.
Okay.
Like the kids take STAR testing. We took different tests. I think they
Oh, you finna date yourself. Come on.
yeah, we took different tests. It wasn't named the STAR back then,
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
but back then, I wasn't the smartest kid, but I really didn't study, and I got a good grade. I was, B plus student back in the day. I just
Yeah.
didn't apply myself, right?
Sure.
I applied myself in the world more than I applied myself in school.
Yeah, absolutely,
and that was
sure.
the obvious. But let's dial into the STAR test. Educate some people out there, and there's a lot of people out here probably watching. They know about STAR test.
Sure.
But it's people like myself who don't know everything about the STAR test.
Right.
So, educate us on that.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the STAR test, and we're talking about state mandated testing.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
this test where the state of Texas is able to assess are young people learning the things they need to know at the particular grade level to be able to go to the next grade level, or if they're tracking and on par to continue on in their education, to be able to assess where they really are. So
Okay.
that's where you see to where you have these different grades on schools and everything, because you're able to say that this many young people met the requirement, or they approached the requirement, or they exceeded, mastered the requirement, right?
Okay, okay.
So it's the catch-all to be able to say this is how you're particularly doing. Now, the controversial aspect of that is
Right.
what is that assessment tool actually really measuring? How is that assessment tool coming to be? What is that young person that's learning outside of those particular things? And then the criteria in which we're utilizing that to be able to judge a school. And in this particular instance, the criteria had changed without really any true heads up about what the actual changes were going to be. So many schools, many districts are playing this game of, okay, we're trying to hit the marks that y'all telling us to hit, but the mark moved on us. So now it's going to look like that we might have done even better than what we did the previous year, but it's going to look like our grade is lower because the criteria changed in some way. So, I mean, it's a sticky game in so many ways, man. So it's not even about whether or not there should be a standardized test for the state. That could be possible and that could be fine, but it does have to be something that we're really able to focus in on in a proper way to measure the thing that we're supposed to be measuring, to really see if our young people are receiving the education that they're supposed to receive. So like I said, that's kind of the STAR test, but it's contentious depending on who you ask and when you ask and how you ask, because it's just not it's a very gray area instead of the black and white that is presented to be something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, now I don't know if you can answer this one or not,
Yeah.
because they say that the test is geared for certain people, not all of it geared for different cultures,
Yeah.
different parts of the state.
Yeah.
So can you say anything about that? Can you?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely,
okay.
man.
So what do you think about it?
So what you're doing is you're hitting on kind of what I said about the overhaul of adult mindset and in education as well from the nation, man.
Okay.
Bottom line is, man, the majority of kids that are in our school systems now are students of color. And when all of these things were originated in so many ways, they weren't taken into account, man. Even just the way our educational system flows in the first place. So
Okay.
when we're talking about that, even in Fort Worth ISD right now, we're 89% kids of color within our district. Right, 67% Latino students. We're talking about 20 up to 23% or whatever the case of African American students. The base of the school of the students that we're serving are these young people that are kids of color is having a different cultural experience
Right,
than necessarily
right.
their white counterpart. But the systems in so many ways were made with those young people in mind instead of the ones that are actually being served now. Right,
Exactly.
and it difference doesn't mean deficit. Right,
Right, right,
So
right.
they're every bit as capable in every way. But the thing is that this is the audience in which we're now serving. Are we speaking to them in the way that they are able to be able to comprehend and understand what is going on, right?
Okay.
So one of the examples that I heard, which I thought was completely brilliant, is that if you think about tea time, right?
Tea time.
Yeah, so even the phrase tea time, right? Tea time can mean two different things depending on where you at.
Okay.
If I say tea time in one context, I might be talking about that we're gonna go to the golf course and this is when we're gonna tee off.
That's what I came to my mind.
Yeah, but I also could say tea time, and I'm actually talking about sitting down with a cup of tea in order for us to be able to have that time.
Ah, you got
Now,
me.
culturally, depending on where you at, that might mean a different thing to you. So you answer a question in a different way, and it was like, oh, I thought you were talking about this. And then even when you start talking about tea time, if you're talking about with a cup of tea, when you have this cup, you're sitting on top of a saucer. How many young people know what a saucer is? 'Cause they just think it's a little plate.
That is true.
They weren't dumb. They weren't stupid. They just didn't have the culture. They didn't understand that particular thing of the culture, and if they would have understood in the terms they understood, they could have told you exactly what was going on with that, right?
I see.
So that's when we're talking about, like, is it measuring what it actually needs to be measuring when it comes to intellect and how this young person is performing,
Okay,
right? And
okay.
then, and if we understand that our audience is now different than it was when we constructed all these things, how are we shifting the adult mindset to say how are we going to help serve this young person, because yes, there was a young person we were originally serving all this, but now we got a Broderick, and Broderick from a different place, and Broderick understand differently. He's
Right,
every
right.
bit as brilliant if we speak to Broderick, but we got to actually speak to Broderick now.
Exactly.
That's what we
Exactly.
need to be doing, man.
Okay, I see that. I mean, because like once again, I didn't grow up learning this stuff as an adult about school board, about the STAR test and all this stuff. I mean, I appreciate you coming on, spending time with us about educating all of us. And I hope out there in Facebook world and YouTube world that y'all got something from Mr. Q. Thank you for your time this morning. But one last thing on this right here, I'm gonna recap it. We say focus on the kids, number one, right?
Come on now, all day long.
Change the mindset of some of our teachers.
Absolutely.
Adults.
Yeah, not just the teachers.
Did
Yeah,
not-
for
okay,
teachers.
you're right,
It's
okay.
a whole systemic thing, man.
Okay. So our adults, right? And then just keep that passion going, and know that it's one goal.
It's one goal.
It's one goal. You know what I mean?
And the goal is not even necessarily about the actual academics of itself. How do we make this young person a better person than what they walked in?
And that's it.
Come
And
on.
for Wealthy Work, I know I'm going to do my part. And we asked all y'all to come do y'all part. One of the things I can say is start volunteering. Fort Worth ISD, they do a lot of things. Go tell your teacher, your principal, ask how you can volunteer out there. I don't have kids, but I have 300 kids that goes through the juvenile service. We got 20-some kids that go through the prison release. We have 50-some in the after-school program. So if I can do it, guys, I know y'all can do it. I mean, trust me, you're going to get hooked if you do it. You can do a graffiti. You can do a food drive. It's so many organizations out there that's doing great work. Just latch on to one of them and get out there in the community. And so dialing into that, we're going to go right into it. You want to refresh your coffee or
I
anything?
think I'm pretty good, man.
You pretty good?
before I get jittery.
Okay. You need another donut?
No,
Hey, okay.
the donuts was great. Thank you, Ms. Lee. Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, sir. And so we're going to jump right into what you do out in the community.
Yeah.
And your organization, which you co-founder, is Community Frontline.
Yes, sir.
I had the opportunity last week, Tuesday and Wednesday, when y'all had y'all greeted me to learn a little more about what y'all do.
Sure.
And so I have your packet. I'm not gonna go through all of it. I'm just gonna let you go through and tell us. And then I do have some areas that I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell us when it's founded. Tell us about the young men that partner with y'all to get this started.
Absolutely, man. So Community Frontline is an organization my brothers and I started, man. And You know, when I say brothers, I mean that sense. I mean that in a real sense, man. So we're not biologically related, but man, we are absolutely the family that God chose for us to have, man. We raised one another, grew up each other on the east side of Fort Worth, particularly in the Stop Six neighborhood, and we were able to go off and matriculate in college together, right? From the positive peer pressure that we had. Shout out to Prairie View A&M University, PV. You know, we were able to go. We were able to do that, man. But what's coming from the situation we were coming from, man, with all of the things that Hood Living the Forge won, right? It was a feat for us to be able to go to college. And what we also understood is that we knew people that had made it from where we were from, but most of the people that made it from where we were from were making it in other areas of life, whether it be in different states, different cities. We made a pact with one another that once we finished with college, we were coming back to Fort Worth. And then we were coming back to the east side of Fort Worth, the place that made us who we were, man, because we knew that we had to take that mantle eventually to be the adults and the adults that were born into us. So we got back. We just began wanting to do some of the work to pour into the folks that poured into us and the city that poured into us, and that's what Community Frontline was born out of. We just transitioned some of the work that we were doing just as people that lived there and loved the place, and made it an official nonprofit to be able to do all the things that we're able to do nowadays. So that was started by my brother Dante Williams, my brother Franklin Moss Jr., myself, and then our brother from another mother that came along later, Derek Carson, man. But it's a labor of love, man, and our way of giving back to the community that made us, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, it was great seeing all y'all brothers there, seeing how y'all come together. I mean, I'm proud to partner with y'all in our organization. We're going to be in Meadowbrook Middle School. We start the week after Labor Day weekend. We're going to be there Mondays, 10 to 9. And once again, this is where you get an opportunity. We mentioned about
10, so they know,
9 to 10. But y'all have to reach out to us, Community Frontline, TFT organization. Just reach out to us. Y'all know how to get with us for Wealthy Worth, and we want those volunteers. We need our young men to see positive young men.
Yes.
And so this is a great opportunity for y'all to volunteer. But at the same time, y'all do much more than that. Y'all do, y'all have community work. Y'all got police community relations. And so one of the things I like when it came to the police relations, because we're attacking the drug and alcohol and driving part, is getting to know your local, what they call it, your local officer.
Your
NCO. NPO, okay. You know what I mean? So that was great seeing that. Tell me some things that y'all do with your local NPO.
Yeah, man. So you hit on it with the police community relations, and everything that Community Frontline does came directly from hearing from the community. We didn't make up any of it. We had a big session, man, where we brought everybody in from the community. We talking literally 100 dudes in a room and said, what's happening in our community?
Right.
And these things is what people were saying. These are the concerns. This is what needs to be fixed. And everything we do is born out of that. So police community relations was one of those things. The way the police treat citizens in the community, the way the community vilifies the police. It was like, these things, these extremes are not true. These officers are people that are in a uniform, right? That need to be treated as such. That need to be able to go home to their families.
Respected.
And they're serving people that are not a case number or just a ticket you handed out, a real human being that's living a life and doing a thing. So we have to see one another in their humanity. So much like you said, one of the best ways to do that for our point of view is allowing people to get to know one another in their true humanity. And so you have these neighborhood police officers, at least in the Fort Worth model that we have in Fort Worth Police Department, to where different officers have neighborhoods that they're a part of, and they really are able to serve in those ways. And it's making it to where the people in their community in which they're serving can actually know that officer as the human being, know they can call on them and get served, right? And at the same time, that officer is not just out here just serving willy-nilly to somebody that they don't have any investment in whatsoever, but they're serving their neighbors and their people that they really get to know about. So we bridge the gap of that relationship, because now people feel safe in calling the police feel safe going out in the community and serving those folks, because the relationships are intact.
That's real. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm 53 years old, and I'm gonna say 80%, 90% of my life, I didn't like police.
Oh yeah.
Because back in the day, they came in my every time they came, somebody was leaving in cuffs.
I'm from the six, same way.
You know what I'm saying?
One of those examples, man, and I know we're gonna keep moving, but when I was young, man, and it might have been the same for you, I'm 10, 11 on the corner, I'm not committing a crime, I'm doing nothing, but I see that police car, I take off running.
Exactly.
Right? I look guilty. I wasn't doing nothing but hanging on the corner and chilling.
Exactly.
But I'm running because I don't want no beef, I don't want no struggle, you ain't coming to get me, right?
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, I feel that all the way, man, same way I was.
But now it's like you see see that officer at the store, you trying to buy them a coffee. You trying to buy them a drink.
Absolutely.
They ain't got Dunkin' Donut coffee, but
Come on now.
QT. They had QT. They had QT. You know what I'm saying? So you get to shake their hand. You know what I'm saying now, because we know that they are human beings. You know what I'm saying? They have families that they want to go home to,
Absolutely.
and they going through the same economic struggle that we going through,
Yes.
and with all that's a whole different animal right there.
Yeah.
But then we don't want go down that rabbit hole, but
Right.
but they're human beings and they want the best for our community because some of them live in our community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but in city of Fort Worth, work, we want it safe, we want it better. Go out there once again. You can volunteer actually with the police officers. They do a lot of events in the community. We had the cookout with Miss Monica. Over at the lake, you know what I mean? They had a barbecue competition.
Fellow Prairie View Council, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So they had that competition. I didn't get to enter because I guarantee you, if Lil Smokey was out there, the trophy would have came home to me. They had a belt, they had a little
Smokey, I
belt.
like it.
And so just let them boys listening. I invited them on to the show. They haven't accepted the invitation yet.
Come on
They ain't
through,
ready
man.
yet. They ain't ready yet.
Kick it with my guy.
Yeah, they ain't ready yet. But let's get to the next one, and one that's real. I know it's passionate to you because the two words on your paperwork was education and mentoring.
Yeah.
Dial into that, what y'all looking to do and what y'all been doing for years.
Yeah, man. So from the educational component, I mean, one of the things is me sitting here with you right now as a school board representative, right, is that when people are talking about what needs to happen, thankfully I was able to find that was going to be my role, man, as far as from that leadership perspective. From a district perspective, running for that office, being able to get that's a role I wanted to be able to play. How do we affect policy? How do we change the culture of a district? How do we, get the proper people in place and things of that nature? So even that was birthed out of that, man. But then we're talking about really being involved in the schools, trying to make sure we're meeting the needs of young people. We talk about education from a holistic standpoint too, not just academics within a school. Doing community libraries. We have community library in our school until we can promote literacy throughout the city, man. Where people just go get a book. Don't even matter. Get one, read one, continue in that manner to be able to do that. We have forums on a monthly basis that educates the community on a variety of topics because that's education too, right? We're not in there talking about science that day. We might just be talking about how you can get help from a local resource, but you're educating your community when it comes to that. But then ultimately, what we really boil down to is having our direct mentorship within the school with our young people where we're in there weekly, engaging them for a session, teaching them about manhood, teaching them about womanhood,
that's what I'm talking
teaching them about behavior. How do you become a good human being? So shout outs to TFT. That's where we get to partner now because you had already been a great partner with us in our Emmett Walton endeavor because you would come and you would help point those young people. They loved you. Now your organization is coming alongside to where we're going to get to do Meadowbrook Middle School so we can expand. And it really is just coming and saying, I'm willing to spend the time. I'm willing to partner to you what I got. And we know we're going to see the benefits from these young people succeeding.
Man, I can't wait. It's like we was there giving out the backpacks and we able to see these little kids, little bright eyes, and I went to Meadowbrook Middle, and I remember, going to that school. I remember climbing on the roof. I was one of those bad kids, you know what I'm saying? And so, but the vice principal, Mr.
You
Sumner,
was a struggling kid.
Struggling kid. I was struggling kid. I was struggling, you know what I'm saying? So, but Mr. Sumner, he's like, you know what? They need to know those type of things.
Yeah.
But now you're back here trying to pour into them, and that's amazing what you guys are doing, pouring into our youth, and also y'all pouring into the community because y'all had that community and beautification part.
Yeah.
And so we have a little part. We're sponsoring with a couple of contractors. We got Golden Rule and we got Proco. Companies that we're looking to do some veterans home, help our senior citizens. Tell us what y'all doing out there.
Yeah, when it comes to city beautification and development, man. So one, city beautification, man, it is the simplicity of taking pride back in the neighborhoods, whether they be simply just cleaning up spots where you see that need to be cleaned, that are becoming disheveled. That's a community effort. Say we ain't waiting on somebody to do it. We simply can clean that ourselves and do something about it. When we see different, we've been able to do arts initiatives where we've been able to do murals across the city, historical murals, man, telling the story of people that have been forgotten about or maybe marginalized within the community, allowing to see beautiful artistry about that around the city to beautify in that way. One of the biggest things under the development part is our business network, though, man. We're talking about businesses owned by people of color, man, that we actually want to see thrive within the city because when they do, they begin to hire people from their neighborhoods. When they do, we talk about economic economic growth. We're talking about that being development and beautification, because if you have a business and your business is being profitable and you're staying there, you're going to beautify the space that you're in and take pride in that, and people are going to be able to reap the benefits of that as well. So we have over 200 businesses that we've been working with within the business network, man, of black and brown owned, women owned businesses, man, to be able to say that, hey, we just coming alongside and to partner in a way to make sure that you got the tools, the resources, the things you need, because we need your business to stay here, because you're helping the community and you're helping us to grow and thrive when you do so. So yeah, under that development umbrella, man, it's getting folks access to capital. It's making these businesses thrive in the city of Fort Worth, so all our people can benefit.
Man, I tell you, I'm from where I came. I'm just so proud to be knowing you guys, because like I say, seeing that the other day and seeing so many young men that's doing such good work, because I was blind to this for, like I said, 80%, 90% of my life, and so it's great. Like, I just want to shout out real quick to a couple of young men. Mr. Jonathan over there at Dunbar. I don't know if he's still at Dunbar, but he's been there. Mr. Jonathan got me plugged in with the automotive program, you know what I'm saying? And of course, he was under the umbrella of Mr. Ricky Clark, Pretty Ricky as they call him, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you shouting out to Preview, he be shouting out by Wiley, East Texas down there.
Jarvis,
there you go, Jarvis.
Yeah, he gonna get mad about that.
Yeah, my bad, Mr.
Jarvis
Clark.
Christian University, that's his place,
But you know what? He's sending those kids to college every year.
Yeah,
what he's doing with my brother's keeper and my sister keeper is freaking outstanding,
Absolutely.
And so, just hats off to the guys that's doing such great things in our community. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real.
Please do.
What took so long for y'all to accept me, man? I'm serious. I'm serious. This wasn't easy, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now. But I understand why.
Yeah.
Because what y'all dealing with is our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't let anybody in
Sure.
when you're dealing with our kids. So,
Sure.
but everything's under God's timing. And I'm gonna be truthful and honestly with you.
Yeah.
Before COVID, I was just working out with the juvenile kids, just doing a little bit of something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was at on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't 100 with it,
Yeah.
But when COVID hit, and God hit me upside my head, he had to change some things in my life.
Yeah.
He had to move some pieces around.
Yeah.
And I feel right now everything's under God's timing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna say what took so long,
No.
but I'm so glad he got us together.
No, I'm glad he got us together as well, man. And that's the thing, from a frontline standpoint, you've always been accepted, man. And that's in the sense of that we don't really have a membership like that, right? We got people that are leading the endeavors, man, but the whole point of community frontline is the entire community is doing this together. It ain't about ego, it ain't about a pat on the back or any of those things. It's about, is it a result? Is someone hurting and someone needing, and are we meeting that need? And you've always been alongside us and being able to do that part. And then from a bureaucracy standpoint, when it comes to schools and all those kind of things, that really is about, there's always checks and things that need to happen with all of those particular things, man. And you got folks with, unfortunately, false motivations, man, to try to come into some of the things that we're doing. But the way you did it is that that because you were actually about to work, you just came in alongside us and started working. They ain't never had to get paid for it. They haven't never did anything. You like, hey, Mr. Clark, hey, Mr. Q, I just want to be with y'all and do it. And you showed up and you helped mentor our young people. And so when we start talking about expansion and, hey, we can go to another school, it was no brainer, because we were actually doing it and seeing the results we were supposed to see, man. So many people don't go through those type of channels of saying, I'm going to do the work and help out, and then allow it to be able to happen that way, because people just want to get in and say they in or whatever. So shout out to you for doing it the way of, let's go do the work and then let the benefits come.
Man, I'm like this, and I like to reach a lot of our brothers out here that's in the beauty shops, barber shops, car washes, because we hold these conversations and they ask the questions like, why you do this? How you do this? And they struggling because they are where I was at, both sides of the fence. Guys, let me tell you, I'm going to tell y'all right now, just do it. It is hard, I'm not going to lie, and it's supposed to be hard, because if anything's easy, it's not going to be worth it. You see what I'm saying? So go through it, hook up with somebody. As we was talking here, Mr. Q named several mentors. We old heads, we OGs now, but we still have somebody mentoring
us. Speak for yourself, man. Don't let the great fool.
Right. When I gotta pop these knees in the morning, I gotta stretch, you know what I'm saying, before I get out of the bed.
No.
Right. But real talk, but man, grab somebody, come holler at us. We out here in the communities. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what people gonna think. Don't be afraid of the money that you're gonna spend, because God gonna provide everything you need if you out here working in the community. I guarantee you. But you need a mentor, and let me tell you something. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Watch the type of mentor that you get, because you don't want a mentor who wants something out of you.
Come on now.
Mr. Q, Mr. Clark, Mr. Jonathan, Mr. Austin. I can name several people who just was giving me advice. You need to do this. You need to do this, or their suggestions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then, as both of us are Christian men, the next step is to pray about it.
Come on now.
Because he gonna give you the answer.
Yeah.
Might not be the answer you want. There's gonna be some sacrifice in it, right?
Sure.
It's gonna be some sacrifice. You gotta be willing to sacrifice, And so, I'm so glad that doors opened over time and we've come, because, like I said, I wasn't ready. And there's a couple things how we wasn't ready, and I'm gonna shout out to my team. God put Mr. Jason Lorch in our path. That was a door open. Mr. Dexter Hickman over here, Miss Angela over here, Mr. Mike out there, Miss Ashley, Miss Cerise. We wasn't ready yet then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we're ready. Now we can come on side of y'all at the schools. Now we can do more, in the community. Now we can be part of the community development. Now we can be part of the police, the relationship, building those relationships. So I'm really excited about it. One day we will have to catch one of those Cowboys and Giant games.
We want to do that.
So even if it's on TV, I like smoking meat, so we're gonna be smoking in a couple of weeks.
I'm telling you, I am an obnoxious Cowboy fan too, so I'm
Ooh,
down for
hey, y'all
so I'm
see
gonna
this?
talk plenty of noise when it happens. Just
But
get
guess
ready.
what? I am the number one Cowboy hater. So it's like this with me. I'm a Giants fan,
Yeah.
and I'm a Cowboy hater. They just like
the
that.
funny thing is, man, that's really not a thing. There's really Cowboy fans
Yes, sir.
and undercover Cowboy fans. Y'all all undercover Cowboy
No,
fans.
hey.
Because guess what you gonna do
trying to
every
be
week?
slick over here.
Guess what he gonna do every week? Just like all the rest of them. They gonna watch their team games, so he gonna watch the Giants and he gonna watch the Cowboys every week.
I'm like this.
He gonna know more about what's going on with the Cowboys. He gonna know what's going on with the Giants.
I'm like this. That ain't happening. Now, if you bring some, if you got barbecue over there, I'm coming. You playing
Already.
dominoes over there, I'm coming. I'm
Already.
gonna bring the game or some spades. I'm gonna bring the game to you.
Yes, sir.
If
Yes,
the
sir.
Cowboys are on over there, they's on over there. But I'm gonna be busting heads on that table. You know what I'm saying? And so we gonna have some fun, man. I appreciate it, guys. We're about to get out here and look at some cars now. Let's talk classics. Let's talk. What's your car? Talk to me.
Man,
You got 300 and something out
yeah.
here. So
If
what's your
it's-
car?
So one, the one that always comes to mind for me, man, and I'm a convertible guy, man.
Okay.
57 Chevy,
Okay.
black, no top, man. Not even convertible, just chop that sucker all the way out. Man. You got to park it in the garage. You can't keep it outside.
Can't keep it
man. You know what I
outside.
mean?
Okay.
So that would be one, and then the classic old Roadster, man. Like
Okay,
that.
okay.
I mean, what a beautiful car. And again, convertible, man, no top. Like,
Yeah,
well, not even like I said, it ain't converted. It is straight open, right? Just
Chop top.
chop top, man. Those are the cars that, like, when I see that, man, that just gets my heart buzzing, man. So I will own one of them. And kind of now I know the place where I can come and
There
actually
you go,
figure
there
that
you
out.
go.
So yeah, man.
Well, man, let's go out here, take a look at a few cars, man, take some photos, man. And once again, we'll thank Miss Denise here at Streetside Classic. We're at that Fort Wealthy Worth location. They do have 5 other locations. And we have Mr. Mike and them out there. They doing some shout outs to our other sponsors. But y'all know where we at every 4th Saturday. We're at Streetside Classic for classic, caffeine, and community. Thanks, Mr. Quentin Q. Phillips,
My pleasure,
our
brother.
Fort Worth District 3 School Board Trustee, and also our co-founder of Community Frontline.
Sure.
Thank y'all again, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you. Peace. All right. Thank you, sir.
Oh, man, that was fun. You
Thank you,
already know.
sir. You know what I'm saying? Man, that education, that knowledge, man, is that key. And we're looking to do more, get more. And so let's set this up.
Indeed.
And
Miss Angela.
yeah.
After one of the shake and you guys were doing